Hello and welcome back to the Gamer's Tale. We're a bit late. We had some technical difficulties dealing with trying to figure out how we can hear everyone. We're going to be moving on. Our new guest, Steven, is not going to be able to be heard. We'll be reading everything he texts to us as his character for him until we figure out this annoying technical difficulty. I'm joined by Ralph and, of course, Ty. They'll be playing Yoan and Bask, respectively, if I got that right. You're in the Western Kingdom of Sarand. Uh, in a caravan, the horses are jostling around in their harnesses. It's about midday. You've been traveling for a couple of hours now, and uh, the Asimar uh, has been walking in this caravan for a couple of months. Now, he has been very far away from home, and throughout this time, you guys go to area, which will be rectified onto the Roll20 area. You were in the place coming to a town called Plains Elbow, which you might have to zoom out. The map is rather large, and that will be dealing with this open area. It's mostly grasslands around there. There are some undulations in the hills. It's not completely flat like Kansas. It's starting to get more towards winters, so the ground is kind of not necessarily hard. It's more soft and mushy, but not enough to cause you to start sinking into it if you were to walk on it. Yeah, we're going to zoom in on Ty's character. What would you all like to do?
Yeah.
I'm for going into town as far as that goes.
Okay.
So we're coming from the west town and heading to the east, right?
Technically, you're coming just off of this map. This is coming from this direction, moving in. Plains Elbow is the first set of little 5 poorly done boxes.
Okay.
And,
So right here.
yeah,
Okay.
the map is mainly just to give you an idea of what the area you're going to be dealing with is.
Wow. So yeah, that letter. Do I know exactly what I'm? Do I have any idea like where I'm heading or? Uh,
You're heading toward a major town called Imbrindril. It's kind of like the crossroads of the kingdom. It's a couple 20, 30 miles away from the inland sea. This is 50 to 60 miles away from that. This is the main thoroughfare, and it's going to come in on the southwest side of Imbrindril.
okay. Um.
Okay. So Yoan knows about that town, but I don't.
Roll to see if you do. That's going to be a history check.
Oh crap. I was
And
gonna
so
say
it begins.
I didn't pick. I don't think I picked that proficiency. Okay. Oh, history. It says I have it's got a 2 by it, and it's checked.
Yeah, so it's going to be your history proficiency plus your intelligence modifier.
Which is for intelligence. I have none.
In the other game I play, I have a -1 for my intelligence, so that always gets interesting.
Okay. /R 1d20. I guess I'm confused with how this is set up because in the skills section of my sheet it says 2.
Yeah, it's 1d20 plus your modifier, so it's 1d20 plus sign 2 plus your intelligence modifier. Since you have none,
Oh,
it'll be +2.
okay. So 1d20 plus 2 is 17. Okay.
Yes, you have heard of Ibendril. It's a very large, very affluent city. Uh, it's kind of like one of the last places to the east before you get to the major fishing towns.
Mm, all right.
Uh, as you're doing this, as you're walking along the caravan, you've noticed maybe a couple of days back, a group of four individuals. They don't really look like commoners. They've had a bit more affluence to them. Uh, they have their own horses. They take care of their own equipment. They just seem to have better quality clothing than either, uh, or at least in the Asimar's opinion, because he comes from a rural mountain town. He's got more rough spun. His equipment's well maintained, like it was handed down to him, but it's definitely not uh, the highest end boutique thing. And this is kind of like the equipment they have is well crafted.
So you're telling me I'm a fashionable hick?
You have a bloody scythe as your main weapon. Yes, you are a hick. As of course, as you're traveling through the caravan, you would have noticed a couple of other individuals. There's an elf. He seems to be more not necessarily wise than the other individuals, but he definitely seems very book learned, and he's got dark hair and the common elven features. And you are reminded, Basque, you're reminded of the mysterious note that you found in your equipment after you'd left your hometown.
Yes, about that.
Yes, you have an indicate you for a deep understanding of how it works with your patron. You feel that this has a very vague description of some individuals, and that it might have to do with their profession and their
Okay.
outlook.
Sure. Yeah, so I could probably talk to them, I suppose. We should probably do that later.
I mean, you're traveling in a caravan toward a small town. I'm giving it a little leeway that you might have tried to talk to each other during the weeks coming here.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Either that, you could be totally antisocial, and just kind of brood in the corner with a scythe in your hand.
No, that would be silly. We're going on this adventure. We're probably going to be
You don't
thrown
know that.
into.
So
All
No, I
three of you,
don't. I don't know it.
all three of you are here for totally different reasons. You just have to
Yep.
find out.
I have to figure out who's going to be Elwood.
Hmm.
Anyway. Okay, so are we in town now?
I'm gonna say you're a mile or two out of town. You'll be there in an hour or so. You can
Okay.
obviously see it. This is a particularly flat area.
so these four you were talking about, are they like we're seeing them outside of the caravan, or are they like in it with us?
They've joined a couple days ago. They seem to be very purpose driven, and they have an air about them that they are not necessarily better than everyone else, but they have a purpose in life, and they're here for a mission. They don't seem as downtrodden the rest of the caravan who've been doing this for weeks on weeks on weeks.
Huh. Okay. Uh. Huh. I mean, do we want to like try to approach them for any reason, or are we good just letting them do their own thing? And
Outside meta knowledge, this is actually Steven's character and three of his companions. So if you
Oh,
want to talk to him or not,
sure.
that's really up to you.
I'll talk to him.
actually, I've got like a tech question real quick. If Sorry, I'm not sure. Forget what your name is already, but the guy with the mic issue. How do I get to the chat so I can see what's going on with him?
Okay. There is either the group chat in which you can write in Roll 20, or you can use the group chat within Google Hangouts. Which, seeing as you guys are both going to be in Roll 20, I would suggest using that instead.
Oh, okay, I got it. Thanks. Cool.
Okay. That way, I can actually share that, and other people can see what's going on as well. Let's be over in the right-hand corner. All right.
Oh, so this is
The place where
Frederick.
you're going to be putting rolling, and where you are is going to be where you're going to be. Where you're rolling is also where you're going to be putting a chat option. And just
No,
to
I
let you
mean
know,
the four guys.
the
If
four
this is
guys.
Stephen and his entourage, Frederick's entourage,
Yes. Yeah, Frederick's entourage.
for lack of a better term.
Uh, all right. I'll pop over to Stephen. Uh, as you're riding along, you've joined the caravan a couple of days ago. Uh, Eric has been very keen to join, and he's all excited, and he's asking. He kind of want to know what we're doing here. Why are we here?
Oh, who is this again? One of the four people, or
One of the four people he's talking to Eric. Or Eric, not Eric, to Frederick. There's nothing like writing out a long message.
Okay.
oh crap, where'd it go?
Do I overhear that?
Are you close enough to him?
I don't know. Am I?
Maybe. Maybe you're not. Where would you want to be in this caravan?
I mean,
Th-
I don't want to necessarily be rubbing shoulders with his horse or anything. Okay, so I would not be able to hear it then.
Most likely not.
Okay, that's
It's
fine.
very interesting, Sir Frederick. What's going on? Uh, Eric looks at Alan Richards. He feels that um, Frederick is maybe taking this a little too seriously. He's been kind of. I'm sorry, I'm building characters for your retainers already, but Eric has always been kind of like lackadaisical. He's more of a charismatic individual, but he doesn't really take things seriously. But the jokester of your group, but he's mostly the one that gets the uh, like tavern owners and all those individuals to maybe get you a better price. He's kind of like your negotiator.
He and I should have gotten along way better before this, then, I would say.
Well, he's mainly there to work for Frederick. He's not really there to rub shoulders with you, because he's more likely to, if you got something, he's gonna maybe get it for you
Okay,
or
sure.
from you.
Oh, to get it from me, that's a little different.
Yeah. Eric Eric kind of tips his puts a hand to his brow, and kind of rides off ahead. Just a little bit, just to get a feel of the caravan a bit more. He notices that there's this weird guy. He's got brown. He's kind of pale, maybe pale, kind of sick, but he's got this huge scythe over his shoulder. He just seems to be as happy as him, but it's weird. He's always looking around and seeing things and trying to find out about them. Which I'm describing our warlock. No,
That would be that would be me.
the one with the scythe is the warlock. Uh, Eric sees him. He goes up and said, "Hello.
What's up? How you doing?
How, why? Are you an agricultural worker?
Uh, I came from a mountain village. Yes.
Well, then why are you going to a new farm or something? Why you have the scythe on the back?
Bandits and harvesting. But since I was going to a place I wasn't too familiar with, mostly bandits.
Uh huh. Okay. He kind of pulls back and waits for Frederick to come up and says, "I think he's insane. I wouldn't uh I wouldn't talk to him very much unless you that's just weird. Why would you carry a scythe?" And never mind. Okay. He just kind of you're right. I I'm used to much more time in the higher cities. People just don't carry farming implements for no reason. You're right, Frederick. Forgive me. But still.
I know this is out of character to say this right now, but I think I'm loving this already.
Yeah.
Welcome to whatever I pull out of my ass.
I'm like lost in the interface right now. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Which
that's
which
totally
part?
fine. I've spent way too much time on roll
Well, I'm
20.
stuck on I think your screen, and now I was trying to figure out how to get back to the chat, and I'm like, got my cam up on the.
Okay, you probably accidentally I'm screen sharing in the Google Hangout so that it gets the recording so people will be able to see what Frederick is saying. Uh yeah, I have way too many windows open for this, but
Hmm.
Um, hmm.
Richard kind of rides up behind Eric and slaps him in the back of the head. Uh, Richard's Richard lives up to his nickname, which is Dick. He's the more serious character, and he kind of takes care of anything. You get more of a intimidation factor from him, but he fulfills all his he fills all of his duties with rigid precision. I have a feeling that he might have had some combat training in the past, but he says, "Eric, just shut the hell up, get in the back." I seriously don't understand why you have him on all the time, Eric or Frederick. He seems to be more trouble than he's worth. Doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut. I expect it to be many more years before we find the value. Still, a farm worker carrying a farm implement. There's there's farms to the south, near the southern break, but out here in the plains, strange. By my estimation, it's about another 10, 15 minutes. It wasn't very far away. I'll ride ahead and see if I can get a much more exact time. And he pulls away. Yes, you can roll and yeah, roll a history check. Okay. So, with that roll, you're familiar with the name Plains Elbow. I think I named the town. Yeah, Plains Elbow. It's one of the farthest outreaches from more civilized eastern part of Sarand. There's a This is the farthest town out that can be considered civilization, but it's like at the very beginning of development. Given time, if more people moved here, it could be a very sturdy outpost, but currently it's just a kind of a bump in the road. This is kind of like the gas station of towns before you start to get near a larger population. All right. Okay. A couple minutes pass, and Richard comes back, and he tells you it's about 5 minutes until town. They tell me we'll be getting in there quite soon. The caravan is made up of largely humans. There's a couple of gnomes that you've noticed and halflings, but it's kind of like a classic wagon train. There's 20 to 30 kind of covered wagons as people move across. This is one of the official caravan ways, and this is one of the official caravans that people move in to maybe find a better life or just to travel across the continent. Okay. Yeah. The caravan pulls into town, and there's more than 5 buildings in town. There's more like 10 to 20, but couldn't be ours to draw more than that. There's stores over here. There's people's places of living. There's a couple other streets beside this one, but this main highway serves as the main street of the town.
So these 5 boxes, are they settlements or are they really tiny towns on either side of the road?
That indicates that there are several buildings. That
okay.
in all of it is Plains Elbow, but it just gives you a sense that there's a town there.
Okay, so this is the entirety of Plains Elbow and it's 5 individual buildings.
No, it's not. I drew 5 because I didn't want to draw a bunch of very, 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 very tiny dots to
Okay.
indicate each and every single one of them.
Okay. That's helpful.
Okay. I'm going to need you all to roll a retroactive perception check to see what you guys would have seen along the road.
Oh yeah, I haven't figured out the whole rolling thing yet. So
Okay, that would be in the little chat. It's a very nice countryside. It's very comfortable riding. That would be a /R in the little chat box that Frederick's been using. A space, then 1d20. Or you can also click on your character sheet. I usually don't do that because I haven't set one up in my own D&D examples. You also think it's very nice flat country.
Yes, I do.
A little cold, but it's getting towards winter, so it's to be expected.
So /R.
Right, /R space 1d20. And then plus your perception bonus if you have one, which would be wisdom.
I believe it's based off of wisdom, yes.
Trying to think.
Perception 2. Oh no, that's proficiency. Crap.
Yeah, let me check your profile.
Perception.
That might be based on... No, that's investigation.
In the skills section in mine, it says
Can you hear me
perception.
now?
Oh,
yes.
Wow. Okay.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, we can also hear ourselves.
Fixed it. How about now? Can you hear me now? Or can you
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Okay, good.
Just gotta make sure we can't hear ourselves. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Perfect. Yay!
Did it work?
I feel like it did.
Yeah.
Okay, that is.
Huh.
I've literally gone through everything in my computer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay, so from what I can see, it's you have a -1 to your perception. So yours would be -1 to wisdom as well. Ooh. So
You can
yours
also
would be 1d20.
You can also click it on his character sheet for him if you want to, Trent.
Not good.
It looks like it said it was rolling something, but I'm not seeing any output.
Let's just click on that. See what happens with that. Huh. Okay.
How did the guy with the -1 get a better roll?
Oh man. Okay.
That's crazy.
Let's go with the 17. You notice that there are these strange, they kind of look like poles that every couple of miles there's a pole on either the north or the south side of the road, and when every time you ask someone in the caravan about them, they just kind of get quiet and they change the subject.
Are they arcane focuses?
They're probably 200 to 300 feet off the road. You can definitely go and see what they are if you want.
Sure, I would have to roll. What would I have to roll for?
Probably investigation.
Investigation is intelligence, and I have a 2 check mark, so it'd be 1d20 plus 2, and my crappy bonus, which is 0.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1d20. What's the too many 2s? Plus 2. God.
You have seen these before. These look like what you put scarecrows on.
Oh, okay.
But kind of taller. Ooh, crackle, crackle. I hear.
Sounds like the start of one of them horror flicks.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so there's this kind of 6 to 7 feet tall pole with sometimes there's a crossbar and sometimes there's not. But it looks pretty much what you would put a scarecrow on.
Okay.
Back to being in town. Let's say for the sake of story that these things are regularly placed enough and prominently placed enough that you probably would have at least seen them in passing.
Okay.
Maybe not give too much thought. Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to do in town?
Are we staying for the night, or is this just passing through?
That's what I was going to ask.
There's a decent stretch of roads between here and the crossroads of Crosswood. They're probably gonna hole up here, 'cause especially women and children, animals. They've been pushing pretty hard. over the last couple of weeks, and this is like the first town where you've been able to really stop and get some amenities.
Okay. Then I'll go ahead and send Eric. I'll give him 5 gold and tell him to go ahead and prepare room and food for the night.
Okay. He goes to kind of like the only hotel in the place. He asks for the best room, and he pays for the night. It's about 3 gold for all of you, for plus fodder, plus food for the next morning, and of course anything else you would like at the time. And he sets that up.
You said
Uh,
5
he
gold?
It's 3. It's 3 for 4 people plus their horses, plus food.
Okay, so for us that would be like 1 to 2 for like Yowen and me.
Well, you'd have to ask because this is also like the presidential suite
Oh,
kind of a thing. So you might be able to get cheaper lodging if you go for cheek by jowl on the lower ends of the hotel.
that'd be fine. Is there like a reception area, somebody I can ask to get room for the night somewhere?
Yeah, in the hotel, you can go in
Okay.
and ask.
All right, I'll do that.
Right, so you enter the hotel and you see that one individual who talked crap about your scythe before, and he says he just kind of eyes you and is like, ugh, and he walks off to the area where the guys you've seen him hanging out with before, the cashier, for lack of a better term, because my brain's not working tonight. Hi, how can I help you? Man, little vest, tie. He is wearing a shirt and pants, I can assure you.
Good. Yes, I'd like to get a room for the night. How much?
We got 3 room rates. All of our best rooms just got bought out. Other people have been in here, so that leaves the copper rooms. And we have maybe 1 left if you're okay with sharing it with someone.
Okay.
That'll
How
be
many coppers?
that'll be about 5 copper. If you want wood, that's gonna up wood for the fire or some coals. You're gonna have to bump it up to 2 silver.
2 silver. Okay, and it's 100 each.
No, it's 10 each.
10 each. Okay, so 2 silver would be
20 copper.
20 copper. But to
Or
deduct that from gold,
one fifth of a gold coin.
1/5 of a gold coin. Are we going to call that I have 19 point?
Okay, so notice this one really cool thing that if you look in your character sheets, down in the area that says equipment, you have the different currencies, and so it'll be 19 gold, which is this weird parentheses reverse thing, and the triangle will be put to 8.
So I put 19 in place of the 20.
Mm-hmm. Which I didn't know that those were used for that. And I put damage for my own character sheet.
Okay, so I have 19 gold now, but none of the other fractions are showing up.
You have to put them in yourself.
Oh, so
The second from the top is going to be
8. 8 coppers.
Yes. No. 8
Not
silver. You have handed over 2 silver. Or
Okay.
technically, you've handed over a gold coin and received 8 silver back in change.
Okay.
Okay.
So got a room for the night. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you, because I got.
All this subtraction is frying what little brains I have left this late at night.
So, Yoan, I'm guessing you also want to find a room?
Yeah, I would. I just have no idea what I've got for money.
Oh, crap.
I know I must have had like at least some gold left, but
Okay, I think it was 46 was
yeah,
your
that sounds about right.
all right. So just roll another 46. And we'll say that you've been carrying it.
Oh, roll another. Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me you were loaded.
Yeah.
He may not be.
Right.
4 gold.
I think I had rolled a 4.
All right, it was 40. It was 46 plus 20, if I remember correctly. It's like that was the multiplier that you'd use. So it was like you had like 150 gold or something like that. Let's just let's just go with that because your character would probably have that much on him
So
for supplies and things.
insanely wealthy. I get it. Awesome.
150 gold is not a lot, especially if I'm going to be using the.
Dude, I only have 20.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
I was sure you had said 4d4 times 10. No,
In the messenger, he said 44 times 10.
yeah, that's so that would have 4.
Does roll 20 allow rolls like that?
It would have been 40 gold, right? Yeah, okay. So, like,
Yeah, it does. Super helpful too.
and I think I spent like 25 or something. So like, I have like 15 left. So I should be able to throw like a gold out there for the.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, you're going to have to pay 2 silver because the only room that's open has just been taken up by Bask.
Oh, I got to share with somebody.
Yeah.
Would apparently be me.
So what's like my share?
As far as that goes, we can settle up later. I'm fine with just
You
taking the
sure?
cost. It's all right.
I'll just subtract.
These guys are kind of chiselers, so it's 2 silver for each of you.
Oh,
Oh, 2 silver. Okay.
I mean, they have the only hotel in town. They kind of can
Oh.
dictate whatever price they want.
they're the only game in town, so they can gouge us if they so choose. I see how the game is played.
Hmm. While you guys are figuring that out, Eric comes back and says, "I got us a room. It's got the 2 best rooms in the house. It was 3 gold. Here's the other 2 back."
Awesome. I thank him. And I'll give him back the 2 gold for him and the other guys to go have a few drinks and relax.
Thank you kindly, sir. And he gets the other guys to go, and they pretty much get pretty wasted. And the drinks aren't all that expensive here, but not enough to keep them from performing their duties.
Like I said, their time is their time.
Okay. All right. So it's getting about towards dinner time. The hotel offers food, and yours is already paid for, Frederick. And if Yowen and Bask, I really need to learn his name.
You could just call me LB.
I'm never going to do that. Lundgren. Lundgren can go and order some either from the hotel or find one of the local taverns, and
I think I'd probably stay in the hotel.
yeah, that'll be an additional silver.
Sign of goodwill and all that, Drek. Okay, so we go from 8 down to 7, and we get dinner. Yay!
So it's a very hearty meal. For some reason, my mind is conjuring up steak and potatoes, but more like a roast beef.
I dig it.
That
It's-
sounds good.
It's a very filling meal. It's not It's not very high society. This is more like what you would expect an average farmer to have for their average meal, but is definitely not the worst food any of you have ever had. Uh, and it's certainly really welcome after a long day on the road. The eating part of the hotel is pretty crowded. A lot of the caravan is still there. They're sharing stories, swapping recipes and things like that among the women and uh, people who've been on the road with them for this long, as such as Lundgren and Rowan or Yowen. Uh, Probably would have known a few more people. So everyone kind of wants to get to know who the hell this new guy is who came in a couple days ago.
Um, I will go and sit down with Yoan and Busk.
Lundgren or
That
Bask.
that works for me.
Yeah, I'll go down and sit down with them and eat and chat and introduce myself.
Sure,
Sweet.
sure.
So, the money we paid for the room got us food.
And one additional silver.
Well,
It would
I was
be
gonna say,
Okay.
yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the subtractions.
oh yeah.
We should get college credit for like accounting or something.
Yeah.
It's the same level.
bet.
Same level.
Oh man, it's how much my heart has sunk in D&D campaigns. It's like I need this item. This is 5,000 gold, but I have two. And I really
looks like we're going on a raid with a bunch of evil creatures in some village somewhere and taking their things.
yeah. Then I set the cemetery on fire by accident. That did not turn out well. Yeah.
I remember that story.
So one of the, I guess you could say the foreman of the caravan sits down with you guys. How's been your trip so far, boys?
Good, really good.
You think you'll use our services again?
If I come back this way, I think I will. Thanks.
We'll be glad to have you, Lundgren. It's been a good month since you've been with us. It's been an enjoyable time.
Likewise.
And how about you, Johan? Have you had a good time?
So we made it to the town. Yeah.
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 You made it to the town.
Yay.
So you're a bit tired from the road. All right. And you, good sir, have you enjoyed our time with the caravan? A couple of days? Not as long as these gents, but it's a good time.
It's been a good few days.
Always try to make sure the caravans are fun for people. It is such a drag to travel through such boring country with nothing to do. So that's what I've tried to instill a bit of fun. Your man Eric, he seems to be one for fun.
Yes, he's the one for a lot of things.
I gather that too. He's been chatting up some of our more free ladies, shall we say?
I expect nothing less from him, really.
I'll leave you boys to your meal. He slaps the table and he gets up, helps himself to the cup of ale, and continues to make his rounds around the caravan tables.
Rather genial chap, I gotta say.
Seems quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like we need a goal or something.
Oh, I have one, but it's rather banal.
You feel very Lundgren feels very comfortable with these individuals knowing about a task, shall we say, and he feels that, and you feel that back in the deep part of your mind, they also have a task that will tie into yours.
Okay.
In conversation, I kind of just want to drop the name. I think I'm saying this right. Cyronicus?
It's Cyrenicus, but that's pretty close.
and see if anyone kind of peeks their ears a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check some of the things there because I don't really.
Unless somebody has information. Missing something.
Yoan, the name sounds kind of familiar to you. It is connected with several instances where magical artifacts have suddenly gone missing after a group that pledges allegiance to this individual has shown up in town and created kind of a stink.
So they absconded with some metaphysical toys.
So,
Hmm.
the missing, yeah. So what specifically sounded familiar?
The name Saronicus.
Sarant.
I can write it in the chat just so
Yeah, that
y'all
would
can
be
see.
thanks.
Now I'm intrigued.
So whose ears?
Okay, so this is like the name of a town or some kind of location.
From what you've gathered, this is a very ambiguous name. It seems to be used either as a name for a group, a name for an individual, but it usually has a kind of either both hushed tones or a lot of emotion attached to it.
Right.
Positive or negative emotion?
That varies from town to town. It varies from location to location as well.
Okay.
So, okay, cool.
When the name is mentioned at the very back of your mind, Lundgren, you feel just kind of like this bright light, as if something important has just been mentioned.
Right.
But
Really?
it's not a positive. It's not a very like a warm light. It's more of a cold, bright light.
Cold, bright light. So, the Saronicus, what can you tell me about him?
Well, I asked you first.
Oh, indeed, you did. But it seems to me that Yoan here seems to know more about it maybe than us both. And maybe he should tell us if he has a mind to do so.
Should I do some kind of like check on?
You would have to do let's call it another history check because
History?
yay, yeah. I think that'd be the check for this one. Just looking at the
Crap hit.
If I could get away from trash rolls, I might be able to find out a couple things.
History.
definitely.
Oh,
Okay, so that's a D20.
Yep.
plus
It would be you have a foreign history. So yeah. 1d20 plus 4. While the name sounds familiar to you, it doesn't. It's one of those things where it's like you think about something and it's like right at the back of your head. It's like you can't really remember what it is, and it's
Right.
gonna bug you for the rest of the night. Probably trying to figure out what do I know about Cyrenaica. And one of the caravan members kind of overhears the mention and then get peeks over and says, "So you're going to talk about Cyrenaica, you said?"
Maybe we need a library.
Oh God.
maybe.
I think Steven just undid his mic or something because now I can't hear him.
If he's speaking, we can't hear it.
Just barely. Are you like twisting the jack in the?
Yeah, I just leaned against it. My bad. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Won't touch anything.
Seems that you know a bit about this Cyrenaica character, sir. Is anything you'd like to tell us, if only briefly?
Oh, all the workers
I'd
know
like
about Cyrenaica.
I'd like to grab his chair and kind of pull him a little bit closer to us. To our table.
He seems very interested. He says, well, I hear a couple of people from Cyrenaica's group are in the next town over. They'd like to congregate around Crossroads, gets their message out a little bit faster. You see that he has a small necklace hanging just outside of his jacket, and it looks like a compass rose. Only the first layer is solid, and the second layer underneath is a different color, but it also seems to be a solid layer. So if you turn it over, there's an X pattern of a solid color connected, and on the other side, you flip it over, and there is kind of a cross shape with a pointed star-like ends.
Would I recognize it?
Roll not insight. What's the word I'm looking for?
Investigation?
Not investigation. You probably would have been told this before, so I guess it would again be nothing but history checks. Fantastic.
I think I might know it.
Okay. You recognize this as a symbol that's usually connected with Cyrenaica. So either the individual is a part of the group or he has leanings towards it.
I'd like to pull out a gold coin. Hold it in my hand. If you can tell me more, you can have the gold coin.
Someone tells me you're not very familiar with Cyrenaica's teachings.
That's why I am asking.
Well, he puts his hand on yours, and you expect him to take the gold coin. He says, "Can't be bought," and he just kind of scoots away.
No change.
He doesn't take the coin. The coin's still in your hand.
I wonder if I could persuade him. Is he just skittish or hostile?
He's more of like you failed the test.
Okay, so not hostile, maybe a bit disappointed. Let's see. What can I do?
He gets up and he walks away.
Darn it.
I would like to go find Eric and kind of put it in his ear to go be friendly with this man.
Okay, you find Eric. He's kind of bleary eyed. He's probably had way too much at this point. He goes, yes, sir. Who's the guy again?
I'd like to point him out in the crowd if I could.
Oh, okay, that guy. Time to make a new best friend. He gets up, he goes over, and you see he gets kind of buddy with him. He's sipping on the beer. You could take some for a few more drinks, and there's some back and forth, and you wait about 10-15 minutes while he's doing this, and the conversation you see kind of not necessarily dies, just kind of ends, and Eric waves and walks back over to you and says, "Oh, nice guy."
What did you learn?
He's very interested. He noticed me. He asked me about working for you, and if I was tired of that, tired of the social difference, I think he called it. Yeah, he seemed to emphasize that a lot, like you thought you were better than us or something.
Well, I hope you know I don't believe that.
No, I found it weird. He put way too much emphasis on that. I've heard some strange things in my day, but never so much of an emphasis on people trying to be the same. Is what I felt from him. Like if you're not exactly like him, it's or exactly the same view. I was guessing the way I'm going. The beer's getting to me.
I could still. I don't know if that would work.
Don't try to
I-
murder him in the back.
I'm not murdering anyone. If I could just cast friends on him, maybe I could talk to him.
You can go up and try to.
Yeah, I can try to. So, where is the guy?
He's just over at a tavern.
Like across the street?
Yeah, like across the street.
Okay, let's go across the street and see what we can maybe do. Or not. I'm not sure.
What's the save on friends? Is that a wisdom save?
Let's see. Says what? Hold on. The save.
It's either a wisdom
Source.
or a will, so that's based off of wisdom. So that's going to be.
It doesn't say. The 5e
I'm pretty sure it's a
spell
will save.
doesn't say.
Okay,
Let's
just
do-
try to it. That's a 1d20 plus. I want to say it's yours is based off of charisma.
Yep. So we're gonna do my charisma bonus, which is if I could check. Oh crap!
You're looking for your spell save, DC?
That would be his level plus the spell's level plus 10. So he's
My
level
spell
1.
save DC is 13. It says.
Yeah, it's 8 plus his proficiency modifier plus the modifier for the attribute.
Okay.
Okay, so why can't I? Oh, I clicked the wrong button. That explains a lot. Okay, so 3. So we're gonna do 1d20 plus 3.
He feels kind of like this weird warm sensation on the front of his forehead. Kind of shakes it off and says, "Can I help you, friend?"
No.
Okay.
Must have mistaken you for somebody else. Sorry.
Yeah, he goes back to his drink, just a little bit more weirded out than before.
Is there anything distinguishing about the guy, like maybe that they'd all have in common that I would notice, or
About this individual or about everyone in the caravan?
this individual, something that makes him stand out?
Other than the single necklace that he was wearing, he seems to be an average worker or traveler. His clothes aren't all that good, or not like high end. They're very rough spun. He's got calluses on his hands. Very menial labor seems to have written itself all over his body, but he seems to be both in good health, and not necessarily destitute, but not necessarily rich either.
Okay.
Things start to wind down. People start going to bed. They plan on getting up early and continuing on with the traveling, which you would know from the conversations you had with the caravan runner would bring you to Crosswood, which would more than likely bring you in contact with more of these Cyrenaica individuals.
All right, so we should probably be prepared for, well,
Everything.
arguments maybe?
Murderous clowns on unicycles.
Weapon-related arguments.
So
Get that on board.
morning comes around. You get up. All your those of you who have eaten or getting ready to eat. Richard comes up to you, tells you that the horses have been cared for. They've gotten all the stuff ready, and they're ready to head out. This is the rest of the caravan.
Oh, we leave when the caravan leaves.
All right. The caravan is probably about 7:30. in the day. They start to whip up the horses, and the caravan begins to slowly pull through Plains Elbow. It's couple 3-4 miles until they reach Crosswood. More like 4. And here you notice, or roll perception check, if you all would.
Okay. That's
Okay.
that's wisdom. Okay, so 1d20 plus 2.
All right. As you continue moving on, you notice that there seems to be more regularly placed intervals of these poles that you've been noticing along the way. Couple 100 feet off the road, 200-300 feet. Some of them are actually more close to the pole, or more like 10-20 feet away from the roads. They still have the classic either crossbar or no crossbar. Or sometimes they have little places where the bottom of the scarecrow would be put. Some of them seem carved, some of them don't.
If they're not arcane focuses for magic energy, they could be for marking the way or human sacrifice, or some kind of ritual, something or other. I'm not too sure.
I can't hear you. You might have leaned on your mic again. Nope.
Kind of insight. Can you hear me now? No.
Barely.
I can barely hear you. You were quiet, and then there was some crackling.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Can I make some kind of insight check, maybe, to maybe see if I know anything about these things or anything like that at all?
Will we call that
I'll
investigation,
call it.
or
Let's call it a. Let's have it two things. Investigation check. Depending on what you find, you'll roll another one.
Nothing. I find nothing.
You see, they seem to be more religious symbols. So roll the religion check.
Nope. Nothing.
There's something there. It means something. But the weird carvings seem to elude you. And you're just kind of left to wonder, why would somebody carve all these symbols and flourishes into this pole? It's about, let's say, 3 to 4 inches in diameter.
It's not big enough to keep a human on.
Yeah, it's not like, these are more like giant. They're not like telephone pole size. They're more slightly thinner, like you would have for a clothesline.
Okay.
would
But some of them are very tall. Some of them have like a crossbar on it.
would it help if I tried to investigate this with my no bonus barely?
You can try.
Yeah.
No one could even try as well.
What check is it? Religion?
It's a religion check. I'll say that since all
Oh, that
three of
was
you
religion?
are, yeah.
I was rolling for investigation.
And you notice the same carvings.
Oh, I got like a 6 in that.
Okay. In your investigation, you find sorry, in your investigation, you find a series of what seem to be very significantly carved pieces of this pole. Like they have a very definite purpose to them. I'm gonna have you roll a religion check with advantage. So roll twice, which I think your religion is +4 on the roll, and roll twice and take the highest of the two.
Roll d20 +4.
Yes. Twice.
Oh, twice. Ugh.
Okay. So with the 16, you with your knowledge of, let me just check some of the DCs I have for you. You have a feeling that this is connected to with written in your book of lore, you find this memory. It has something to do with the kingdoms that were before this one, and they had very specific emphasis on things like this and these particular symbols carved into this pole. You also are familiar with it from your arcane studies, and you have just like this inkling of an understanding that it has to do with of magic, but not necessarily are magical in themselves.
Okay. So they might represent something, but not necessarily be bestowed with anything.
Yes, this is from what from what you feel. This is more of not a more of a votive thing rather than this will keep out bad things. This is more like a shrine.
Oh, okay.
But there's like from this one that's like 10 feet off the road, there are easily 20 of them within eye shot from this area, kind of like this V pattern.
All right. Huh.
As if it's pointing to or away from something else.
Well, I let the rest of the party know what they're about, and
Do you want to continue on with the caravan, or do you want to stay investigate this some more? Maybe look at some of the other ones.
I personally would like to continue on with the caravan.
Okay, you continue on with the caravan, or at least Frederick does. What do the other two do?
we're hooking back up with the caravan.
Yeah,
He's asking if that's what you want to do. Frederick's leaving.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to check it out a little bit more, but I don't know based on what I would roll if I would be any use.
Well, you get the feeling that since Crosswood is a significantly bigger town, and it also is at a crossroads, you might be able to find a bit more information there, especially about local history and culture.
All right. Let's keep this in the back of our heads and go see what we can find in the next batch of towns or buildings, the town.
All right, a couple hours pass as you make your way across this open area, and at one point there is a definite cluster of these strange poles, 300 feet off, but not really much of anything to them. You come into town and there's a number of places. It's much more densely packed here. and they seems to have a lot better infrastructure. Let's say there's a couple hotels, taverns. They even have a couple of libraries too, which seems strange, especially in this area of the country, since you think most of you think that a lot of the heavier learning goes in the major cities and the more uh, well off parts of the country.
Hmm.
I kind of just want to keep an eye on that guy from last night, see where he kind of goes. Because,
Uh, you catch sight of him again, and uh, you see him. He's gone to like at the very actual crossroads that are the center of town. There's the northbound path, the kind of southbound path, and the path that you've come from, which is from the east. And as you can see in the map, oh sorry, it's a southbound path
Yeah.
and west to east.
Yeah.
So there's a he waves and greets an individual who's much different than the rest of the other people. He has a small box that he's standing on, and he has a red hood and like a stole, so like long armed extensions of the hood over his shoulders down to about his belt line, and he's greets the other one, and he also has one of those star pendants, and he is shouting, not necessarily shouting, speaking loudly enough to be heard as people cross by. Why should the gods have any sort of control over our lives? They are but they are but individuals who have not taken their fair share of the powers that we all have given, for we are either made in their image or under their care. Why do they not make the world a better place? Why do they hide themselves from us? Cyrenicus's plans to make us all gods as they once were. For many of the individuals we call gods today took powers from others and became what they are now. It's just kind of something like that. He's just everyone's the way everyone's acting around is like this is a normal occurrence. They either listen to it or they go about their business. This isn't totally normal for them.
So some people are tuning it out.
Some are, some aren't.
It's not as if I wanted to get into a theological debate with this man because we have other business here.
Fred, it looks like he's about to.
Oh, really?
No.
I just want
Eric just kind
to.
Eric just kind of leans into you. It's like, what the hell, man? God, no one keep their mouth shut these days.
Uh,
What do you guys want to do?
I'm gonna tell Richard.
well, I'm still wondering about this whole Cyrenaic.
Cyronicus?
Yeah. I know enough about it as to like where I would end up trying to find out more information, or
Well, there's either for lack of a better term, the street preacher who has a symbol that's connected to Cyrenicus around his neck, or you can possibly go ask around some of the townsfolk or check some of the libraries, which there are two in town.
there's actually a library.
There's actually a library here, and it's kind of strange.
Okay. Yeah, head for the library, I guess. I mean, if I've got enough time, I don't know what.
This is like the next stop. This is the next major town, and people are more likely going to stay here and um, resupply. Or this is actually their destination. The caravan's starting to kind of to break up and take up spaces in the town.
Okay.
Uh,
So if Yolan goes to one and I go to the other, maybe we can cover more ground and see what we can find out.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Roll a
stay
perception
and
check.
listen to the preacher.
And if we don't find anything, we can maybe talk to the preacher guy. He said perception?
Yes, that'd be all three of you.
oh, perception. Okay.
Ooh.
Is that the one I have? Pass per second.
Okay, Lundgren, you notice on one or two of the major businesses, and especially one of the visible libraries, there is Yoan thinks that this place is the bee's knees. They have a lot of nice architecture. It's a nice little town. Yeah. This is where it gets fun. Lundgren notices that on some of the major businesses, and on particularly one of the, um, I'm making a church symbol. It's a library, but they have what appears to be on them a carving that matches very similar to the poles that you've been seeing lately, like both in shape, the size, and design.
Do I notice any kind of dark energy coming from any part of this or no?
No.
Okay. I want to go in there. If it's similar, they might have information.
Okay, you want to go into one is just kind of like moderately graffitied on the side of some of them, and the library has it on it.
Graffiti. People have no respect. Okay. I'm gonna go in. Well, I guess I don't really know which one I go in unless Yolan wants to take one and I'll take the other. I'll go left.
All right, so they're kitty corner to each other to a little bit of extent. There's a couple of buildings in between, and it kind of looks like one of those places where it's like somebody made one to compete with the other,
Okay.
and the one that has the symbol carved on it is on the north side of town, and this is on the other one's a bit down the street.
So right here.
I didn't see where that ping was, so I'm just going to say yes.
Okay. And the northeast side of the.
Yeah, about there. And that's actually where I was thinking of it.
Okay.
So you go in. What does the rest of the individuals do?
I said I was gonna stay there and kind of watch the future. Listen to what he says.
All right. So you just to make it easier, so I don't have to come up with an entire crazy rant right now. You gather that it's a lot of it is it's very
Radical.
the emphasis he keeps putting on is people getting both more technology and adhering to the arts, but also dealing with the arcane and how the average individual should embrace it both of those aspects of life to the fullest. That way, everyone will become the same.
I have to figure out what this town knows about technology.
I really hope you walked into the library and just said that out loud.
No.
How?
I have come for your technology.
I merely thought it to myself. I need to read up on, see what those polls mean, and if it's true what he says, if they have some technology to help my village, I'm going to see what they know about it.
Right, so you go inside the libraries. There's this 30s-ish woman. She's got the little spectacles that go on the end of your nose, pins ends, I believe they're called, and they just like little reading glasses.
Yeah, like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, she's sitting behind this little kind of desk, and this is a pretty well stocked library. There's no bareness on the shelves, and it seems to have a good selection of books. This is probably 30 by 40.
Any part of the library next to the shelves or on the shelves dusty or dirty?
No, they seem to actually give a crap about this stuff.
Okay. Excuse me, miss.
Yes?
Could you direct me to the history section of the library here?
Oh, yeah, 3 aisles down. Take a right, and that's where our general history is kept.
Hmm. Your
If you need
general
any
is
other, if you need any more narrowing, just you have any idea what you're actually looking for, and then we can narrow it down just a little bit.
okay. I'm looking to research the history of this lovely region.
Oh, local history, that would be the same place,
Okay.
but 3 aisles down.
Okay, so 3 aisles further. I got you. Thank you.
You're welcome. She goes
I'll
back
be
to reading.
back in a bit if I need any help.
Mm-hmm.
I troop over there.
Okay. Make a search check.
You like investigation?
Yes.
Okay, investigation. It's that intelligence modifier again, so D20 plus 2 plus nothing.
The street preacher is getting more and more uppity about his thing. Like he's getting to the middle of his long sermon. He's kind of hopping up and down on his soapbox now.
Like jumping or doing calf raises?
He's getting a little air.
Okay.
All right. You find several books, but none of them really seem to be all that as in depth as you want. But you find 2 books about the general history of the town.
All right, let's read it.
You skim it. It's you find some the town was founded well over, let's say, 200 years ago. It hasn't really grown all that much, but they had a very good amount of caring about knowledge, which is one of the reasons why they have at least one requirement within the local laws to have at least one library, and so they have 2 just in case one burns down. But you get the distinct impression that the information between the 2 is kind of divided, so that while not all the information is shared, each one has its own individual quirks about it, and the town itself has a lot of ancient roots to maybe something that was even before the town was there.
So does that mean the other library across town is the Arcane Library, which is the one we really want to look at?
You don't know.
I think I should go back to the lady with the glasses and maybe kind of hint around that that's what I'd like to find out.
Well, you can kind of want to like to hint around all you want. Are you going to do
Okay.
so or not?
Yeah, I am right now. Excuse me,
Yes.
miss.
Yes.
Uh, do you have any books about more arcane or ancient knowledge in this library that I can take a look at?
Specifically, what kind of ancient knowledge?
Oh, like, like magic?
You act as if that word is a bad word.
No. So, my travels, I've found people who think differently about it than others may think of it.
Everyone has their own interpretation of magic. But the arcane books, points like behind her almost immediately, they are back there. But if you want more, what was the other thing you were looking for?
Arcane books about the arcane history, old,
Arcane history
old
or
things.
old things?
Yeah.
Ancient history.
Yes.
3 aisles down, 2 aisles in, or you can look at the arcane books, in the aisle behind me.
Okay. Let's look in the aisle behind you first, and I'll holler if I need anything.
Please don't. This is a library.
Okay, I'll whisper then. Sorry.
Hmm. You're gonna search again?
So another check.
Yep.
Finally.
Okay. You look in the arcane. I'm gonna have this for both of them. You spend some time looking in the arcane. There is a number of references to how magic works and all that nice kind of rudimentary understanding of it, kind of like finding a basic math book in the library. It's not like super advanced, but it's enough to get you have a better understanding of it. And in the ancient history one, you actually find a reference to something called the Lumbians. I'll put that in the chat so it's nice and clear.
Okay.
And it mentions a reference to a civilization that predates uh, the kingdom of Sarand, which is the kingdom that you lived in, or you have lived in, that you currently live in, and it's a very kind of shadowy past to it. Many believe that the Lumbian civilization was entirely subterranean, and they only very in the recent past started branching out um, into the surface area, and then they had a conflict. One to two kings before the current king of Sarand. Many individuals fought and died in this conflict, and the Lembian civilization was has thought to have died out around the same time as the current king's line was put in place over the kingdom. Particularly, this is a predominantly Western Sarand uh, situation, not necessarily an Eastern Sarand.
Okay. But me, I haven't lived anywhere near this kingdom.
You don't know. If it was subterranean, no one really. There are. Your general knowledge is that there are dwarves who that live underground, but from what you gather, the way this is deep underground, um, not like what you saw in the town's history, where there's mentions of a couple of mining in the area, but like days and days journey underground.
So somewhere so dark that only somebody like me would be able to see anything.
Ostensibly,
Hmm. That's interesting.
yes.
Not sure if that library lady would know anything about it.
Do you want to do anything, Yowen, while he's doing this?
Who me?
Yes.
Indeed.
So are we at the same library now?
You can be in the same library.
Um, huh. Yeah, yeah. Should we try to find out more about the Lumbian civilization, or
I'd like to determine whether or not, if we can, whether they're connected to all these poles, or I mean, a lot of people fought and died, so something went on that was important that people were willing to kill for. And if that's related to any of this, I'd like to at least try to find out about it. And if it's connected to this Saronicus character, or what it seems like, it's almost cultic. That's what it
right?
seems like.
All right. So now that you know what you guys are looking for, you can roll investigation check with advantage, since you now have kind of an understanding of where it should go.
Okay, investigation is intelligence, so no bonus. So, but I have a teeny tiny proficiency, so D20 plus
So
2.
what kind of bonus are we getting?
Uh,
Because I chose investigation as a proficiency, so I get 2 in my skills. That's one of the ones I picked.
for you, you
But
would get a +6 on your die roll.
Yeah.
but since it's based on intelligence, I have a 0 intelligence bonus, so I can't go further than that.
Oh, friggin'.
Okay, so you
Okay, so I got to do it twice. That was terrible.
so
Uh-oh.
Lundgren. Oh, this says with advantage, so you can roll again. Let's see.
Okay, I did twice. Those were my twice.
Okay, so the same for Ralph. You can roll again, see if you get any higher.
So it's much the
It's the
same.
exact same roll.
Okay,
All right. So
that's fine.
I don't.
That was good though.
from your research, looking into this, Rowan, you noticed that there's a lot of kind of connection with local history to this Lumbian faction, for lack of a better term, and that their culture had influenced settlers here and other kind of practices at the same time, and that there has been kind of like this local lore to the tune of access to the ancient Lumbian civilization could be found in the area if someone knew where to look.
Aha.
Lundgren, you pretty much find the exact same thing that you found before.
It's a book with pages.
It's a book with pages, and there's writing
The
on it.
book was.
It's a well kept book with pages.
Yes, it is.
Uh,
The Cyrenaican priest, for lack of a better term, has kind of toned himself down, and now he's picking up his soapbox and starting to leave.
Before he leaves, I want to grab him and just ask.
are we leaving the library?
This is happening while you guys are in the library. Frederick has been pretty much
Chat.
been watching this guy for 30, maybe an hour or so now. You guys have been taking quite some time doing this research.
I kind of just want to ask him if he means to denounce the gods or become God.
He says, well, Cyrenaica is quite clear. He thinks that the gods have unfairly treated their servants, only opening themselves to very specific individuals, such as the average cleric or a few paladins, as we've known them to be. But why don't they communicate with all of us on such a level? Is their power so weak that they can't speak to us all? And if not, why should we follow them?
Maybe it's not that they are too weak, but they are too powerful. They do not want to harm us all.
Then they should be able to communicate with us all. They do a much better job at keeping us safe if they had shared the power with us sooner, rather than taunting us with these individuals who sometimes lord their powers over us.
So then let me ask you about me. Am I wrong because I was born higher?
That's a more of an individual question, but being highborn shouldn't mean as much as it does in these parts.
Why not? A family of influence and power bears children of influence and power.
Are you not human? Are you not elf? Are you not dwarf? Are you not like me? The only difference is you've been born to a certain name, to a certain place. Then why is that those who are born in this town are not of the same rank as you?
Maybe their ancestors should have fought harder.
Common response.
With that,
Good
I
day to you.
will blessings of Taylor upon you.
Quite. And he
Yeah,
he doesn't really scare you away. He walks away.
and I would like to go and try and find my comrades wherever they may be.
All right. You find Eric, Richard, and I forgot the other one named Alan. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Well,
They're
I was kind of talking about.
I know, but
We'll get to
find
it.
them, and they've taken care of things for this evening. I'm going to say you probably paid them to already take care of all the stuff, and you go and find Johan and Lundgren.
Okay. And just for my own record keeping, how much would you say gold wise?
There's a bit more competition in here, so let's say 2 gold.
Awesome, thank you.
All right.
Just ask the guys, what have you found?
seems like there is an rumor of an ancient civilization deep underground, under this very ground, and war and death. Other than that, I've apparently figured out that books are lovely.
What about like a map section? Like maybe ancient maps, or I don't know.
Okay.
That
Roll
was
an
the one.
investigation check if you're gonna look for the maps, because there's a map section.
I was gonna say that was the one thing that I
That
forgot.
would be wisdom, if I remember correctly.
Is that the
That's the
perception?
+6. Okay, so you managed to find a very old, not like the oldest map you could find, but a pretty decently aged map, and it seems to be a lot different. The map doesn't actually have the town on it. It has a couple of locations marked, and from what you can tell, there is a significant mark right around where you saw that clump of poles as on the way in.
Aha! That huge clump of poles 300 feet off the road?
Yeah.
Okay. So it does have some significance.
And it seems to be written in a language. What languages do you speak?
Me, I speak Common and Celestial.
I speak Common, Elven, and
Oh, what
Dwarven.
language do it? Ooh. Yeah, I don't even know if I did those or not.
I don't think you did, but for the basic thing, we'll say you speak at least Common and Elvish.
Right.
All of you probably speak roughly that. It's not in Common, and it's not in Elvish.
Ooh.
Is it in Dwarven or some kind of Dwarvish script?
It doesn't appear to be in Dwarven either.
Or Orcish?
Orcish uses Dwarven script.
Right, but it would be just a different arrangement, right?
Yes, but it doesn't seem to be that either. Well, at least not
Okay.
that you can tell.
Okay. What can I tell?
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's talk to the lady and see if she can translate.
If it's in a language one of us can read, we could just read it, right? So
Well, we might not even be able to read it, but if we could like recognize what it is.
yeah, then we
Okay.
could find somebody who can read that for us if they.
I'll let you guys discuss that. I have to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. Actually, it's probably a good time for a cigarette. So.
Uh-oh, my party is leaving me. It's all right.
Do you think that old lady that tends to the library could read it?
That it's worth a try. I mean, if we're splitting, it sounds like at least 4 different languages amongst us, and if it's not in any one of those,
Right.
then
It's like, I mean, I can't speak French, but I'd be able to recognize it, or at least between that and like maybe Spanish. It's got to be one of the two, right?
yeah, exactly. Even if you can't read it, you can you can see that it says something, and by the shape of the letters, and if it has any accents or swirls in it or on it, or
Right.
we could determine that.
It's not celestial. It's not primordial. It's not sylvan. It's not undercommon. It's none of the standard languages. It has to either be abyssal, deep speech that isn't written. It's either abyssal, draconic, or infernal.
Okay, so if it's a demonic language, we'd have to find somebody who can read that because I can't read it. If we're all rocking common, Yoan can do Elvish, I can do Celestial. Your character can probably do 2 or 3 of his own in addition to that. So
Do a dwarvish in addition to the elvish and common.
okay. So Dwarvish, Elvish, Common, and another one. He said it wasn't Dwarvish or Orcish.
Yeah, because orc is written in the dwarvish script, so I would
Yeah.
at least recognize it as dwarvish. It'd be nonsense, though.
So
it has to be abyssal, infernal, or draconic.
Okay, so demons or dragons.
Yeah, which abyssal and infernal, excuse me, are written in the infernal script. So
Kind of like the difference, kind of like the relationship between Dwarvish and Orcish or something like that.
yeah, it's the same
Okay.
letters, just nonsense.
Different arrangement. Okay. So
I'm betting money on Draconic.
okay, well, I don't have as much money as you, so we can't be betting money, especially not gold.
Just because, and this is probably hardcore metagaming here, but it's an ancient civilization with ancient technology. In most lore in D&D, dragons are kind of the ones, dragon and fae, and the infernal and abyssal creatures are the ones that kind of brought magic. Dragons are originally, they like kind of like the original magic users.
Okay.
I think Draconic.
Okay. That would make sense because of how old the civilization is.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Would make
they'd be
sense.
older. They'd be older than demons would be. We're parsing out. He's Frederick here is betting that the map is actually written in Draconic, or maybe some demonic language. But he's thinking Draconic, and so if it's one or the other, I would just take Infernal just so that one of us could possibly be right here. I don't know. Doesn't matter who. I just want to get somebody who can read it, tell us what it says.
Let's check out some stuff.
What kind of magic user are you?
What kind of magic do I use?
Yeah.
I'm a warlock, so I'm technically.
You don't have access to comprehend languages yet. Never mind.
Let's see. I
The
got
wizard might have that though.
which wizard might have which one?
The wizard. Oh, Yoan.
Which spell does he have that you
Language.
want?
I have
Oh,
comprehend languages or decipher script.
oh, I forgot about that. I don't have that yet. And
Whoa, wait. You're a warlock?
yes,
You have first level spells?
yeah, I have 2.
Oh, you didn't take comprehend languages then?
No, I highly considered it, but not yet. No. I picked. Let's see what I picked. I can't remember what the heck I picked. Hold on.
All right. I'm going to retroactively say that through your what you've been looking at, you see that there is an Elvish script. It's just not Elvish.
For my first level spells, I picked Witch Bolt and Hex.
Those are good ones. Those are the classic warlock combo.
Yeah. I was a bit of a hog, I guess, because as a Pact of the Tome Warlock, I could pick a couple of cantrips from whatever other book I wanted to pick it from.
Well, it's not a cantrip. It's a first level spell.
Well, no, I know about comprehend languages, but I was trying to figure out like other stuff that I could use to help at this juncture. And as far as it goes, I got nothing. If I get a level up, I could probably pick comprehend languages because it would be useful later.
So no one in our party speaks Sylvan or Undercommon, right?
Not me.
Not that we know of.
Sylvan, what about Yoan? Elvish is different from Sylvan, though.
Well, so Sylvan is the Fae language, and Elves descend from the Fae.
Okay.
It's the same idea with Orc and Dwarvish. Same script, different language.
So that means he might be able to recognize it for what it is, even if he can't read it.
Right. He'd recognize that as some kind of Elvish language. Probably. Excuse me.
Okay.
I'm my bounds there as the player.
Well,
Hey, your guys. My job is to make a problem for you guys to solve.
well,
Back.
hey,
All right.
we've determined you might be able to read it. Might be able to recognize what it is if you can't, even if you can't read it.
Oh, sweet. All right.
Do you have comprehend languages first?
Do I have what was that?
The spell comprehend languages.
Oh, the spell. Probably not. I don't think that's one I would have picked.
They're all combat oriented. This is great.
I tried not to do it, I swear.
Okay, so they determined that some of the languages on that map were written in an Elvish script, but not necessarily were Elvish.
Okay. Yeah.
I know I speak Elvish. Does anyone else speak Elvish too?
No one does.
Elvish script, but not Elvish.
Could we maybe
So like maybe an ancient form of Elvish, or
probably could we maybe put our heads together and try and like decipher it a little bit, at least pick out common things in Elvish script at least?
huh?
Um, would this be an insight check?
Unless you
Let's
wanted
roll
to make
us-
it in.
I'm just gonna take a look at something and see if what it would be. This would be hmm. Let's make a history check to see if you can remember if you encountered something like this before and what it might be.
History.
Nope, not for me. I'm lowball on everything today. This is great.
You want us all to do
Um,
history checks for fun?
You know that it is Elvish in script.
Those are some fancy letters.
Fancy letters.
Should have paid more attention in Elvish class.
Yeah.
You tell that it is in Elvish. It is its own language, but you can't see any real like direct correlation between it and modern Elvish.
Huh.
You could, I'm just tossing this out there as the DM, you could look for like a language book. You are in a library.
Yep. I'll go get the lady.
Yeah.
The
Get
library lady.
that.
Excuse me, miss. Yes. Do you have any books on languages or translation books?
Oh, we have a number of books on languages, yes.
How about ancient Elvish books?
That might be covered in the languages. I'm not
Okay.
sure. It's been a while since I've looked through all of them. I just keep the books here.
Okay. Can you just point me toward those then, or
2 aisles down, 1 in.
okay? We're trooping over there,
Okay.
I
and
will assist him with this.
I was
The
gonna
what?
say I'd have to bring somebody with me.
I said I will assist him. to give me-
Okay. All right. So what's the modifier for this? Let's say you have a +2 on your search check, Lundgren.
So investigation.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do 1d20 plus 2, but I have a +2, which would be +4.
Mm-hmm. You find a couple of books. They're not like full translations, but they're more of like, here are the different languages you can find in the world. Here's some examples.
Excellent. Okay. I'm gonna take those books and bring them over to where Yoan is and see if we can match something up.
Should,
I don't know what we're matching. I can't read it.
what kind of a roll do I make?
Let's just have you in an investigation.
Let's see. Um, Probably know my stats. But, oh yeah, okay.
Ooh, that's a very good roll. Okay, so you notice that in the front part there is the languages are broken down by script and like the table of contents, and there's kind of a list of them underneath. Um, and when you turn to the pages to find it, you find that 2 of them have been torn out.
Oh.
I smell shenanigans.
You go back to the table of contents and you see that this is mainly the ones that deal with uh, the languages that are in Elvish script that are not Elvish. All of them have been uh, removed with their examples
From those 2 particular books.
from the 2 particular books. Yeah,
Wow.
Are these? We'd have to find out whether these are the only books that deal with this script we're trying to find out about.
What about the lady herself? If I bring we're working from a map, right?
Yeah.
there's a
So,
map and there's 2 books that you have.
can I ask her if she recognizes the the script in question?
She takes a look at it. It appears to be some type of Elvish.
Oh,
This is just
that's
as
right.
unhelpfully as possible and just goes back to reading her book.
Does she
And books are lovely.
what it pertains to?
What?
Does she recognize what it's pertained to? What it pertains to?
She recognized that it's Elvish and that, or an Elvish script on an old map. If from the check that you see that Rowan sees that the table of contents indicates that those parts were dealing with Aquan, Undercommon, Sylvan, some other things, but like ancient Elvish. But the modern Elvish part of the book is still there. So you've narrowed it down to about 3 languages.
Okay.
Wow.
Huh.
We were way off.
So Aquan, Sylvan, Undercommon.
There are some other languages on that map, but most of it is written in this Elvish script.
Okay.
Huh.
So it's a map that has a bunch of different languages on it.
It maybe has 2 or 3, but most of it is in this Elven script.
Okay, that the unhelpful lady won't help us with, and that like nobody can like read.
Well, it's kind of like looking at a map in one of the U.S. states where it's like you have a lot of European names, and then you might have one Native American name for a location.
Okay.
I'm thinking at this point, let's just go investigate the area.
You want to
It's
go
like walk around the
investigate?
town.
No,
So
Like-
so Bag trying to translate it and just go to the.
go to the cluster of crosses or whatever they are.
Would
Yeah.
Would we be able to find any other information at the other library in town?
It's possible.
I don't know. I mean, because they won't let us take the books with us, will they? Or won't they?
It's a library.
Well, I don't have a card.
You can
I just got
ask.
here. Excuse me, miss.
Yes.
Could we perhaps borrow these books and map to study on our own time?
She
while
just
we're in
slams
town?
this huge set of paperwork in front of you and says, "You sign here, and put a deposit of 2 silver."
2 silver.
That's doable.
Okay. Who's paying? Am I paying?
I'll pay.
Okay.
She's just kind of. She looks like she's gonna put you through the library ringer for this because you just keep interrupting her trying to read the story. So she takes the payment. Enjoy your books and the map. Goes back to reading.
Okay. So I mean, I suggest either one of three things. We take this somewhere else, take the stuff somewhere else to study it, I would say, or combine it with the next option, which is go to the other library in town. And I also want to eventually go investigate all these poles that are off the road that have like some ridiculously huge significance we're not aware of just yet.
So
Right.
so maybe grab like the maps from this place, and as far as books go to the other one.
Yeah, we have two. We have the beat up books with us that have been the one that got torn up, and the map. And I'd say first, I want to eventually do both, but I want to see if the other library in town has anything that we can put with what we've already got.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know what or if we're going to find out, but
Yeah.
worth the shot. Worth the shot.
Okay, so you're going to the other library?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this library is kind of similar construction. It doesn't have anything carved on the outside like the other one did. It seems a little dustier, but there seems to be a decent selection in here as well. It seems to be a little bit bigger as well.
Okay. This, I'm trundling about trying to figure out who's in charge.
There's one very, very jerky-like man sitting behind a desk.
When you say jerky,
Oh,
like twitchy, or he looks like a jerk?
It looks
Or-
like he probably has been dried out a few times. Like he's
Oh,
got very
I
craggy
thought
skin.
I thought
He's
you.
kind of dry looking himself. He's very kind of hickory stick thin. He's got old silvery gray hair kind of swooshed to one side, and he just kind of
Okay.
looks like he's been continually chewing on something.
I thought you had maybe meant to say that he was possibly an a-hole.
I mean, everything I described probably describes an a-hole too, but you don't know that.
Then I will approach him and ask, like, grandfather, could you point me in the direction of ancient Elvish languages?
I would say the ancient elves. But if you want the languages, they're back there somewhere. He points like to the back of the place on a shelf, the book.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Head in that
He's
direction.
not reading. He's not reading too, is he?
No, he's just sitting there kind of chewing.
Okay. I'm gonna attempt to investigate whatever shelf this is. I don't know what I'm doing.
There's like a thin layer of dust and everything. You can see that the woman in the other place was a little bit more studious in caring for the books, and this guy's just kind of there for a job. But
So
the
they knows to
books,
give a rat's backside about the condition of any of the stuff.
well, it's cleaned enough to be uh, to maintain them, but not to the extent that they are going to be extremely clean. And he's probably hasn't been back here in a while.
Or the old man is old and dried out and doesn't want to go through all that, fearing he collapse. I don't know. All right, so I get pretty much nothing out of that.
You see there's a large kind of one shelf of language books.
Okay.
It's in the back near the back wall.
I will help him because I at least speak Elvish.
Hey,
So, investigation. Nope.
you find some Elvish books in Elvish, and books about Elvish, but nothing that really seems to be what you're looking for.
Is there some kind of like card thing there, or
There would be one up by the very, very dried out man in the front.
Like a card catalog to tell us what the heck to do.
to
Mhm.
figure out where the hell to go? Yeah.
I'll go get it. All right. Can I see where the card catalog is at from here?
It's up. It's up by the very dried out man in the
Okay, I'll
front.
trundle back there and see if I can't get something out of it. Although I'd have to take Frederick with me because I can't read what I'd be finding.
Now, is it under E for Elvish or A for Ancient?
Well,
You can try both.
strictly, I would say Elvish Ancient if they knew what the heck they were doing, but who knows?
You find two references in the card catalog, one dealing with ancient languages back where roughly you were, and one that deals with ancient history and the influences within the area.
Okay, we'll have to look at both.
What was that?
I said we'll have to look at both, he said.
Okay. You get the two books. Start kind of flipping through them.
Are they written all in Elvish too then?
One's in common, the other one is in Elvish, and it appears to be more of kind of like you would find a How to Speak Latin book.
Okay, so it's an instructional book.
So it's kind of like translations of various ancient Elven phrases and into common and into modern Elvish.
Okay, that sounds like the one we need,
It
at
does.
least in part. All right, let's take it back to Yoan and see if we can't match up some stuff.
Okay, so you have the two books.
Yeah, the two
You're-
books.
Yeah, both of them. You're comparing the map that you have and um the map that you have in the four books that you have now. The two that have the ripped up pages and the ancient kind of translational book. You notice that maybe one word is an ancient Elvish word on that map, and it's by that cluster of that clustered area where the poles are, and it
Okay.
says field.
Okay. Hmm.
And
Well,
the way it's kind of written on there, it kind of looks like it was an afterthought,
Hmm.
or like someone had looked for a word, and all they could think of was ancient Elvish for field.
So it looks like we're going to have to be doing number 3 after all then.
All right, let's go investigate.
All right. Well, we should probably. Are we done with the books and the map?
Uh,
I mean, you have Till Silver to cover it.
I know. I mean, so either. I mean, I don't care which. Either somebody adds it to their equipment and we get out of here, or we put them back where we found them.
I'll hold on to them for right now.
All right.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to
Looks
draw
like-
some shapes.
Looks like we're going outside of town. If you're drawing, I can't see it.
Oh
Oh,
no, I'm picking some stuff.
okay.
Oh, that's way too thin. Okay. Let's just say right about there
Paperclip.
is where it's going to be kind of working.
Okay.
That's the general area of the largest cluster of these poles.
Now, is that the same, like roughly the same area on the map, or?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
The area
wow.
known only in ancient Elvish as field.
I like it.
That can mean several things.
It does, but there's a couple other descriptive words in there that you can't figure out what they are.
I mean that fields can be used for a great many things.
Yes. All right, so you guys take 30-minute walk, let's say, to get to this location. Sometimes the poles are very close together, like within feet of each other, and they're sometimes regularly placed, and some of them look like were added afterwards, and it's starting to be denser here and thinner here, and they just kind of there's not really a rhyme or reason to where these poles are placed from what you can tell. Just like there's a lot of them here, there's not a lot of them here, and some of them some of them are more like 12-foot high. Some of them even have little tiny ones that are like 3 foot, and if everywhere in between, and it kind of looks like someone took like a large thing of spaghetti noodles, broke them, and just kind of tossed them.
I want to go to like the densest cluster, the most dense cluster, and I just want to search the area, look around, any that I can.
Okay. Investigation, I believe you'd be looking for.
Yeah.
There's better. That's good.
Ooh, okay. So, you're in the densest part of these. Some of them are very plain. They have nothing on them, but they've been polished or sanded to agree that they have an entirely smooth grain to them. Some of them have very intricate carvings. Some of them have some of the elvish script that you've seen on the map carved into them. Some of them have ornaments hanging off of them. Some of them have like bird skulls and other things. Some of them have these old feathers, and some have strings of polished rocks. Some of them just have ropes on them, not like tied in any knots, just like tied in place and left there and hung. There's
What if I push on one of them?
pushing on one of them, you find that they are surprisingly solidly put in there. They don't really wiggle. One of them kind of does, one of the smaller ones. It seems to be not as old or weathered as the rest, and maybe had a little bit of time. Maybe it was a little bit more inferior wood. Some of them are even metal, but they're solidly in there.
Do I sense anything about the area? Anything off?
You don't, other than being surrounded by a bunch of poles that have ornaments strung on them, some of them being bone ornaments. You don't feel like an unnatural evil presence. You just feel slightly uneased by this whole area. Just like kind of like walking through a graveyard, but a little less.
Okay.
Just like just that's just like not knowing what it is. This is messing with you psychologically.
Okay.
So this is a spot on the map?
Yeah. This is be the by Crosswood, yeah, that little area. On the map that you found within the library itself, you have this is marked as field in ancient Elvish.
Starting to think this is kind of a red herring a little bit. I don't know though.
The criminal's got to be. Yeah.
Right, going off of the other check that Lundgren made. He's found far from the dense one of the dense areas that Frederick is in. There is another one. This is actually not in the densest area. This actually has about a 10 to 20-foot radius emanating from it, an area that there are none of these poles. But there's one 15-foot pole right in the center.
Sounds important.
This seems to be more metallic. Like if someone took wood and then sheeted it over in some sort of metal. And there's engraving on it that looks painstakingly detailed.
So it's important, and somebody wanted it to stay where it was put for a long, long time.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Looking closer, you can see like someone has even just a little bit of precious metal inlay some silver,
Oh.
some gold. There's
Somebody.
a little kind of shelf-like area where some feet possibly could have been if someone were to like stand on it and stretch out their arms in a cross shape. But the distance between where that would be and where the crossbar is slightly taller than your average man would be. So they would have to really stretch or have freakishly long arms to fully reach out to where the hands would
Giant
normally be.
arms.
Yeah. So someone who would be 6 or 7 feet tall would probably fit very well on this, but still be a little short.
Hmm.
What if one of us gets up on it?
Okay. Do you want to get up on it?
Yeah, I'll bite that bullet. Why not?
Okay. So you climb up onto it, and you situate yourself on the foot thing, and nothing happens. You just stand. You get a nice view of this place, but
While I'm up there, do I notice anything else other than just the other tall bars and such?
roll a perception check.
Him or me?
He's on the.
Okay. I figured it was him.
All right. While you're up on there, all of a sudden, in the corner of your eye, you see movement. Every time this happens 2 to 3 times, each in a seemingly different part of um, this forest of these poles. And for whatever reason, you have a feeling that every time you actually try to look at whatever it is, it moves, and you can't really clearly see it, but you know something's there.
I'm gonna close my eyes and kind of just get a feel for the area around me. That I feel
Okay, so hanging onto the pole and just with your eyes closed, hanging onto it, you feel kind of just the empty area around it because it extends. The mental picture that you get is just a circle with a solid wall around it, with this in the center, and you can't really feel much of anything. There's a slight breeze that you feel, but you don't really remember it being breezy when you got here.
do I hear anything
Uh,
like scuttling, scurrying?
you
Something
hear something
moving.
that kind of sounds just a little bit like fabric rubbing against something, just very faintly.
Okay. I'm gonna shout to my companions for them to get up on some of the poles too. Why not?
All right, let's do it. How bright is it outside?
It's pretty bright.
So this is still during.
It's like that late fall kind of light where it's like it's kind of there's bright light, but it's also kind of overcast at the same time.
Okay.
So like there's light emanating from the sun, but there's just kind of like a tinge of gray to the world at the time.
And so it's like fall when sunlight is like weaker.
Yeah.
But it's still sunny. All right, so I'm going to probably have to roll perception then too.
Right. So you guys climb up on some of the outskirts of these things, the ones that have actual footholds. You see that there's poles around, and some of them are denser on one side than the other. But this has been a weird pattern throughout the entirety of this.
It's not like against the law to try again, is it?
You're not. I am going to need Frederick to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Awesome. Let's do this.
Oh, crap.
That's my
Oh
fun.
man.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Just before you say anything, is this a fairy circle?
No.
Oh,
You hear suddenly that sounds like fabric rubbing against something is right up next to your ear. You just kind of feel like something's just breathing next to you, but you can't really hear it. And it's just the slight sound of fabric rubbing against a somewhat rough surface, kind of like if someone took burlap and rubbed it on a piece of wood.
With my eyes still closed, I'm gonna say hello in Elven.
You just nothing really happens. The sound just continues to do that, but you feel like the sound is kind of pushing towards somewhere in the north. It's like north of you. And suddenly you feel as if that fabric was suddenly rubbed on your arm from shoulder out across your arm all the way to the north in a very particular direction.
I'm gonna hop down. I'm gonna head that direction.
Okay.
I'll follow you.
You doing this with your eyes closed?
No. I'm gonna hop down with my eyes open.
Okay, good. I was gonna have you walk into a pole if you're gonna be doing this with your eyes closed. As you make your way in the direction that this feeling has led you in, you find this. It's not necessarily a box, but it's box shaped, kind of like a trapezoid. So it's flat on top. There's a gradual slope to the sides, but only on the two longest, farthest apart sides, rectangular. And it's kind of knurled, kind of like someone made increasingly smaller mud pie on top of another mud pie on top of another mud pie, and kind of like what you as a modern person would think of someone laid a series of cement layers onto each other, getting slightly smaller, and it kind of looks like I can't really think of the word to describe it. It's obviously there for a purpose with slopes on the side, but it's kind of like a skateboard ramp.
Okay. How big is this roughly?
It's 1 to 2 feet tall. So it'd come up to an average man's knee.
Is this a portal to heck?
Probably. Let's go.
You want to poke it?
I want to try to open it actually.
Oh, okay. You push on it, and you kind of feel around, and you hear fabric rubbing on top of it. But as you're looking at it, there's no fabric there.
What about lifting? Like trying to pull open.
You try to fit your fingers underneath, and you can't really pull it up, but you feel something under there. There's kind of a small recess.
I'm gonna take one of my long swords, kind of wedge it underneath, see if that does anything without breaking the sword.
You wedge it underneath, and you feel it scrape against uh, an area right underneath the indentation that you felt under there, but it's kind of like there's an overhang. Your sword's here, and whatever it is up in a corner.
All right, then back to good old fingers. Feeling there, trying to get a finger up in there, kind of.
Right, so you reach under and you reach into the depression, and there feels like there is a stoppage, but as you press against it, it kind of moves. And as you press harder and harder, you kind of hear a click. And this very thin line appears on the top of the, like a lid on the top of this cement skate ramp thing. Just pops up just a little bit.
All right, now I'll open it.
All right, you open it. Inside is a small open area, kind of like inside a chest, but the chest is made out of rock. Inside there are various containers and jars and pieces of parchment, some books as well. All these seem to be like very purposely placed here.
I'm gonna hand the books and parchments to Ralph. I'm sorry, I can't remember the character's name. His exact name.
Yoa.
Yowen. Yep. And kind of just hand it off and see if you can make anything out of this. And I'm gonna take one of the jars or vials and investigate it a little bit. Maybe stick my finger in there with a little taste.
Some of it's very old water. Like someone had set a jar of water in there and it just sat for an untold amount of time. It just tastes kind of strangely stale. You try another one and it's you regret it. It's very sour. You can't tell if it's like a brine or somebody put something in here and it just decided to rot.
He's tasting unknown liquid?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the first rule of adventuring. Drink everything. A couple of the other ones taste like alcohol. So it tastes. Some of it tastes like a pretty good vintage, almost something you would expect at court.
I'll kind of tuck those away.
In the old knapsack.
Yeah. Anything else?
There is. I want to say it's kind of like a set of rosary beads, but it's just a necklace that has one of these poles on it.
I will definitely take that with me, or I'll hand it off to whoever wants it. Excuse me. We're a party. Can I hold it out? Does anyone want this?
And as you hold it out, the area has been kind of not very windy at all. But as you hold it out, it flicks very far forward in the breeze.
We found our magic. Let's go that way. Well, wait. First, did no one figure anything out with those books?
Ralph, roll a investigation check, which I think is a 4.
Yeah, I think so.
Investigation is 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I'm going to be planning on wrapping this up soon so we all can get some sleep.
Only 2. Holy shit.
That's a nice one.
Ooh, you find 2 books. One appears to be a journal written in a kind of obscure dialect. It appears to be like someone who had multiple languages and was just learning some, and they wanted to write in the second language, but every so often they would just write a word that they couldn't think of translated as
Spanglish.
Yes, like a little bit of Spanglish, but it's a bit of Elven, it's a bit of something else, it's a bit of some of those things that you'd found on the map, 2 or 3 of them, and it's just like a bunch of notes. What you can decipher from it is that this is half journal, half like research paper, half something else, and it's like some of the Elvish is definitely broken. Like it wasn't like written by a high scholar. This is probably somebody's very personal private research.
Right.
Which is why we have 3 halves.
Yeah. Yes, which is why we have 3 halves. The other book is entirely written in 2 languages. Both of them are found on the map. One is in the Elven script, one is not in the Elven script.
Wow.
Let's follow the cross. Follow the magic compass. Follow your nose.
All right, so you follow the necklace, and it kind of shifts and sways a bit. It brings you back to that central pole in the opening.
It is a portal to heck.
All right, time for the passion moment. Let's throw the necklace on and hop back up.
You put on the necklace, and as you get on this pole, unbeknownst to you, everyone else kind of sees it that the areas that have like the precious metal inlay kind of glint a little bit more. And while you're on there, uh, like back in the back of your mind's eye, like you you get the feeling like you saw something that was extremely bright and your vision overloads, but in the back of your eyes, you feel like you see two burning eyes, just kind of more strange slits than they are round and dot-like. And
A portal to hell.
and you feel more than hear this kind of guttural voice of deep.
How deep? How high?
Deep. And you feel like all of a sudden you know that sensation when you're about to fall asleep and just feels like you've fallen. You feel something like that, but it lasts for a few seconds and it feels like way down in the earth. And then you stop.
Where? Oh,
Hmm?
Is this some place where I can catch him?
No, he doesn't fall. He has a sensation of falling.
no,
Okay.
I was gonna ask the voice where.
The necklace kind of starts to point north a bit. It points to the north, and also points to the northwest.
Okay,
And it points to the northeast.
so we'll head north then, I guess. If everyone else is okay with that, following this creepy necklace and the voices in my head now.
Because that always works.
We got nothing better to do. I mean, we've come this far.
Okay, so you guys walk out of the field, and you see kind of more rolling hills. It's not as flat to the north of this area, and it as you're walking for quite some time. It's probably getting in more towards sunset. You've been doing this for a while, and every so often you see that there seems to be more of these poles set throughout, but they seem to be denser off to your northeast side, and so they're not necessarily in line, but where you can see them, they're definitely more prominent to the east than they are to the west.
Now, is the necklace pointing us in that direction, the northeast, or the
It when you kind of jiggle with it a little bit, it kind of goes that way a bit more to the northeast.
curve a little bit that direction?
All right, so about this point, it's probably getting about dark. You probably have a good hour to walk to town and possibly rest, or you can make an improvised camp here, or you can keep going.
What does the group think?
Hmm. We've come kind of far. I mean, we have the necklace, so that depending on what we could theoretically get back here anytime we wanted.
That's true. That's true. But I think we should head back to town, see what's going on, and bright and early head out.
So we're heading back to town.
I mean, unless you want to keep pushing, we can keep pushing.
Hmm. I'm not sure. It's about to get dark. What's that?
That's roughly your location between there and town.
Okay. For this particular instance, I'd suggest going back to town.
Maybe grabbing some extra supplies and then heading back in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, it's only like what, 30 minutes?
Yeah, it'll probably be about 30 minutes, an hour. You have a feeling from the way that I'm going to call them crosses because that's the only thing I can think of. The crosses are leading very far away.
I guess you guys worry about me.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe camp out near here, but I mean it's so close to town, we might as well.
Yeah, let's head back to town. See what's going
Yeah.
on there.
All right, so you head back to town. It's 9-ish at night. Things are kind of quiet. People are still moving around. It's a time for drinking and party games and stuff like that, especially within the caravan.
Oh,
They
side note,
apparently plan to be staying for a few days here.
side note. I am going to hide that necklace underneath my armor.
Okay, so you tuck it in. When you come from the north and you walk by one of the libraries, you feel a small tug underneath your armor as you walk by the carving of the cross kind of thing, but not as forceful as the tug toward the northeast used to be, but just kind of like it popped up just a little bit.
Check that out in the morning. Okay.
All right. With that, I think we'll end it here.
Okay.
Cool.
See you all next week to find out what happens after the creepy crucifix decides to murder them all in their sleep.
Portal to hell. I got it right. Portal to hell.
Thanks much, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was good.
Welcome.
Good.